And with that, it's done. Well, at least what we're calling done. All the major things are done. The toilet's installed and working, the sink is installed and working, the shower is installed and working. It's painted, it's got the beadboard, it's got trim, it's got everything that I thought I was going to get done. I got new lights added, I got the mirror, so it's done. There's just a few small details that are left to complete. Number one, the threshold of the doorway when you come in. I need to get that kind of patched up. Number two, the top of the shower wall is unfinished, so I need to get some sort of trim painted and attached up there. And number three, I need to hang some quarter round or some trim up in the shower where the shower wall meets the shower ceiling. Other than that though, this project is complete and I'm really happy with the way that things came out. This was just so frustrating for sure, but it was incredibly rewarding too to see everything come together, and I really do feel proud of myself for having completed this project. There's a lot I would do differently if I started it today, but I think that's the best part about learning, is that I learned by doing. So I now am familiar with framing, I'm familiar with plumbing, general plumbing, not fancy plumbing, familiar with general basic electrical, so running new outlets in series from existing outlets and adding new light fixtures, wiring in new light fixtures, patching small drywall holes, tiling, waterproofing, schlutering. I've done it all now, so it's really been a very rewarding experience. Honestly though, this video is just long overdue. I didn't know when to complete it. As like I mentioned in the beginning, the project isn't technically done, but from a major standpoint it's completed, and just mentally I needed for it to be done, so I needed to call it done. In addition to that, I also want to talk through the final numbers of what we spent. So stick around till the end of the video. I'm going to talk through the final numbers of the project. But with that being said, here are the final steps to close out the building process. Alright, now that we've seen the last of the work, I think there's no better time than now to talk through the final numbers. And the totals, I'm a little surprised by them, to be honest. There's some that were a little surprising, and it's very interesting to see the final numbers compared against what was originally budgeted for. So, with that, little drum roll please. In total, we spent $6,184. Oof! But I need to caveat that amount right off the top and say that $1,185 of that was specifically for all the drywall repair that we had to have done, which wasn't in the original budget and wasn't intended to be completed as part of the scope of this project when I originally started. So I kind of want to exclude that from the total cost of the actual bathroom so that people have a better idea of what it would truly cost them to do it themselves. Because you could probably avoid spending all this money on drywall by not ripping out your walls. With that being said, the grand total of actual materials for the bathroom itself was $4,915.84. So just about $5,000, which was kind of right on track with our original budget, which came in at about $4,800. And so we really didn't overspend too much, but we ultimately didn't probably get as much as we had originally anticipated. We cut out a brand new toilet, we cut out a brand new window, we cut out a glass shower door. Multiple things came up along the project where we just had to cut them due to budgetary constraints, and we know we can come back and do those things at a later date. A toilet can be changed out at a different date, a window can be done in a weekend, and same thing with adding in a glass shower door here on the shower. So for now we're rocking and rolling with the shower curtain. I think it's fine. We'll see how long we can get with this. Obviously a big total number only helps so much, so I thought I would talk through the specific totals of each category since I have it kind of saved and broken down that way. Anyway, for starters, one of the largest categories that we had in the bathroom renovation expenses was the tile portion of the expense. So in total, we spent $1,450.34 on tile. So that was all of the subway tile for the shower, the tile for the floor of the shower, and the tile for the floor in the bathroom. So all said and done, that was almost $1,500. It really surprised me how quickly tile can become expensive. So we bought the majority of our tile at the Floor and Decor. Just ultimately ended up being a better value than a lot of the other big box stores. I can tell you that the tile shop was definitely a more premium location to be shopping for materials. Their floor tiles quickly went up from $8 a square foot all the way up to $15, $16, $17 a square foot for flooring. We spent that type of amount on just the small area in the shower, but for the remainder of the bathroom floor, we just went with a much cheaper tile. I think the whole bathroom floor cost as much as the tile that we put in the actual shower. So you can easily blow your budget out, or you can cut corners in your budget with your tile for sure. Along with the tile itself, there's also a bunch of ancillary costs. So we spent almost about $350, so $338.67 on accompanying materials. So sponges, grout, silicone, all set, the thin set that you use to set the tiles, just you name it. There's so many little things that come up, so just be prepared for that. In addition to the tile cost itself, there's a bunch of supporting material costs that come up if you don't have the materials to install tile already on hand. Another area of the budget that just really ballooned past its original estimate was that of just what I call the miscellaneous category, but that was lumber, electrical supplies, plumbing supplies, tools. Anything that came up that didn't fit inside the original bucket categories would be thrown into this miscellaneous category. I'd originally budgeted $500 for that, and it ended up being more like $1,600. So those materials that I mentioned earlier that kind of go into the total of the tile, those were included in that. Trim was another area that was kind of more expensive than I was expecting. So beadboard, we did a beadboard wall paneling, and then we had 5.5-inch tall trim, and then we put a 3/4 inch quarter round at the bottom of that trim to kind of finish it out. And that ultimately, that trim and all that together was $263.04, so quite a bit of money just for the finishing details. We spent $100 on paint, we spent $115 on lumber, I spent $234 on plumbing supplies, so that included the supplies as well as a few tools that I needed to correctly install the PEX-A piping. So it really makes sense why these subcontractors pricing has gone up so much. Like the material inputs of all this is so expensive. So if somebody's got to make a little profit, they got to pay insurance, they got to do this, that, and the other. Yeah, it just makes sense why a bathroom renovation costs $10,000-$15,000 these days. But that's really all I can say at this point. I mean, I feel like I've talked this project to death at this point. I've made 20 videos about it. I've spent the last 6 months of my life working on it, not straight obviously because it would have been done a lot sooner if I'd have been more dedicated to it, but 6 months from start to finish is how long it took, and I'm really so glad it's over. There's more creating that I want to do, there's more videos that I want to do, there's more projects at the house I want to do, so I'm happy to be putting a bow on this project, tying it up, and ending this one on a high note, and just in a really proud moment for myself of completing my first major home renovation by myself. So shout out to my parents and my wife for all their help during the process. Couldn't have completed this project without them. So here's to many more projects and hopefully more videos.